Warning. The Dragon Between podcast may contain language and adult humor that is unsuitable for those 13 years and younger. Viewer discretion is advised. You're listening to the Dragon Between podcast, a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign that takes place in the Eberron pulp fantasy setting created by Keith Baker. New episodes are recorded every other Sunday and released on the following week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel for clips and future episodes. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for updates and news on the podcast. Thank you for listening, and now on with the show. When we last met, the crew of the New Horizon found themselves in the company of their Kalashtar friend, Koratari. After accepting an invitation to meet with the Queen of Onder at her floating palace of Fairhold at the center of the city, the characters headed towards the massive series of towers on the backs of Dragonhawks, the traditional flying mount of the Sky Knights of Onder. Upon arriving at Fairhold, the group were led towards the throne room, where they were introduced to Queen Orala Ir-Wynaran. The Queen sympathized with the crew of the New Horizon and arranged for the resurrection of their fallen crew members, in addition to some hazard pay for their trouble. Queen Orala then extended an invitation to lunch with the royal family. After accepting, the group were then left to their own devices and allowed to explore Fairhold until lunch was served. Some time passed, and the party were assembled in the grand dining hall. A grand feast laid out before them. As the group ate and drank their fill, and took advantage of royal hospitality, the queen excused herself and headed off with the bombastic traveling wizard Volo and his bodyguard. The prince retired to his study with Zito and Ender for a private conversation, while Eli found himself invited to explore the royal menagerie with Princess Corinne.
Giggity.
As Ender and Zito learned about a mysterious organization operating the Shadow Marches, Eli found himself marveling at the collection of dangerous creatures held in some kind of stasis. The princess suddenly locked the room and attempted to seduce Eli. The wizard had little time to respond to her advances as the monsters began coming to life. Massive insects and undead creatures moving in on the startled wizard and the princess, just before he whisked himself away with Princess Corinne back to the dining hall. A destructive battle ensued as the rest of the awakened menagerie of monsters began stalking the group. The party sprang into action, taking the fight to the creatures in the somewhat narrow halls. As the battle neared ending, Ender struck with a mighty blow into the final ankheg, laying it low, just as the Umber Hulk advanced on an incapacitated Auri. And I will send us into round 5. And it's Lathana's turn. Let me share a map with you all. Who would like to operate Gunthroll during this combat?
I think you can. I'm okay with you.
You're okay with me?
Controlling how many monsters. I say you do it.
Is that so? And Lathana, it's your turn. You see ahead of you the sight of the lithe form of Auri as she sort of sways before this advancing, hulking, insect-like creature. That it's clacking its arms together, looking like it's getting ready to pounce on her.
Alright.
No pressure.
I will place my hunter's mark on this umbered hull.
Okay.
And I would focus on strength, trying to damage it versus accuracy for both of my shots.
Okay.
Take it down.
Now, I should mention that you are not aware that you have a very large weretiger standing in front of you. But you ignore cover, so you're okay.
I like scoot under his armpit and shoot.
Okay.
Wait, what? Wait, hold on. What?
Actually, before you do anything, I would like you to do me a favor. I need you to make a charisma saving throw.
I'm super charismatic. Super. Wait, what? No, not -5. Hold.
-5, huh?
Just 11. Just 11.
Where's that -5 coming from?
That was for my arrow shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and roll that again if you like. I won't fault you for that. It's been a couple weeks. Okay. Would you like to spend an inspiration?
Yep.
Okay.
Better.
All right. Unfortunately, you failed. You are incapacitated.
Oh gosh.
So as you began to raise your bow up and send an arrow aloft towards this creature, which hulking over Auri, its eyes seem to catch the light from the many elemental lanterns and seem to bounce off of the many faceted eyes, reflecting back towards you. And while you are incapacitated, you cannot take reactions. I believe. Let's see. Gosh, it's been a couple of weeks, guys. I got to reread this. There. Oh, I apologize. You can avert your eyes. Use your action to avoid making this saving throw.
Okay.
Would you prefer to do that instead of being incapacitated?
I mean, I'm already incapacitated. So...
Okay. I can take it off. No worries. It's been a couple weeks.
No, it's fine.
Okay. But yes, on a failed saving throw, you can't take reaction until the start of the next turn. And you roll a d8 to determine what you do. On a roll of 1 to 4, you do nothing. 5 to 6, you take no action. Use all your movement to move in a random direction. 7 or 8, you make a random melee attack against a random creature. Or you do nothing if no creature is within reach.
And that's a D8?
Yeah. You roll a d8.
Right now?
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
I forgot about this during the last session. Okay, so you're going to make a random melee attack. Well, let's see. I'll tell you what. Roll a d4. Okay. Make an attack against Esmer. Melee attack. You're still targeting the emerald, by the way.
Would I shoot my arrow, or would I just punch?
No, this would be a melee attack. So whatever, if you don't have a melee attack, it's just a straight d20 plus your strength modifier. That's a critical hit.
God.
That is a critical hit.
No. If she's incapacitated... Oh my god.
Yeah, you're
Hold
both
I'm
incapacitated.
gonna kill her.
That's 12 slashing damage to Esmer. As Kortar, you watch as in this weird wide-eyed look as Lathan just sort of spins around and lazily smacks into Esmer, who is also incapacitated. And manages to stick her with her double-bladed scimitar. And Lithana you just sort of like stare at her, shocked for a moment, but unable to really react as your blade slides out of her body.
Yay. Alright, that ends my...
Yeah. Kortari, it's your turn. You just watched as Lithana stabbed her cousin.
Huh. Okay. I'm going to... Oh, God. Can I move toward them? I want to kind of try to jump in front of everyone and attack this creature.
Okay. You can totally move towards it. I will say that once you are within range of it, you must either use your action to attempt to avert your eyes to not have to make this save.
Okay, then I will move closer and I'll avert my eyes.
Okay. So you're going to move... We'll say that you can move right next to it and shift Auri out of the way.
Okay.
Alright, so you're going to use your entire turn holding up your arm up. You're blind to it, which means you can... I believe... Gosh, it's been so long since I've seen a creature like this. Unless surprised, creature can avert its eyes to avoid the saving throw at the start of its turn. The creature does so. It can't see the Umber Hulk until the start of its next turn. So you can still attack it. You'll be attacking at disadvantage.
Oh, perfect. Then I will definitely attack with my longsword.
Okay. Alright, Kortari whips out her longsword. After doing a hop, skip, and a jump past Lithana and nearly shoulder-checking an invisible Gunthroll into the wall. And unfortunately, you missed with your longsword.
Oh, no.
But I believe you have 2 attacks, if I'm not mistaken. Plus you have your... you have 2 attacks plus your bonus action plus your unarmed strikes.
Cool. Then I will definitely attack it again with my longsword. And then, does this creature have any... if I use a key point to strike it, do an unarmed strike, will I be not shielding my eyes anymore?
Basically, you're holding your arm over your face. That's why you're rolling a disadvantage, because you're blinded to it. Like, you can't see it. And
okay, but I can...
Unfortunately, all of your attacks missed.
Oh, cool.
Now
One of those you rolled a 17 too, so this guy's got a pretty high AC.
Man.
Yep. He a toughie. This is a big, mean Umber Hulk.
Watch him dance. He's gonna dance.
And he's
Dancing,
dancing.
dancing.
He's...
Dance, dance, dance. Dance, dance, dance.
Jeremy, do you think you can just attack us with an Umber Hulk, and while you're blinding us and forcing us to attack our own comrades, you think you can just dance in the hall?
I can absolutely just make him dance this whole session. How about that? Dance, 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 dance.
You have some tap shoes on?
Ani and I hate you.
He's gonna dance.
Ania's not laughing in the background. She's angry with me. Ani, be angry!
He's gonna dance. Dance, 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 dance all over your faces. Alright. So that was a Kortari, you still have key points. You haven't used any key points. Did you want to spend a key point to use your unarmed strikes?
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay.
Punch him in the bug
I'm gonna
sickles.
punch him in the bug-sicles.
Okay. I would just like to inform you, your first unarmed strike, Fury of Blows, was a miss. And so is your second.
Oh.
So you all watched as Kortari did like this amazing somersault over Lithana and Gunthrol's invisible form. Rushed forth with her sword, stabbed nothing. Holding her, she's covered her eyes and her elbow, the inside of the crook of her elbow, and she stabs nothing, then nothing again, then elbows nothing, and then attempts to uppercut nothing twice, and unfortunately she misses. Nearly punches Auri in the process.
I'm sorry, Auri. And she'll just kind of like hang out next to Auri and try to protect her. And that's it for my...
I would also like to mention, yeah, wow. Okay. I totally got that wrong. Lithana, I'm going to take that damage back. You shouldn't have actually attacked. I'll take that damage. That actually shouldn't have happened until your next turn. So she's she's only down 8 hit points. I apologize.
Okay.
It's a lot of text to read.
That's okay.
It's been a while, guys. I'm sorry. All right. That's the end of your turn, Korotari?
Yes, that is.
Okay. Auri, roll a d8. Okay. So, Auri, you... Okay. Oh gosh. Roll a d4.
Uh-oh. That dice is going to control your fate.
Okay.
No.
You're going to move away from the Umberhook, taking a reaction attack from it. You just kind of stumble into Ender, and as you're walking away from it, the Umberhulk will attempt to bash you with one of its arms. It takes its reaction against you. But it misses as you just sort of stumble away from the creature and stumble into Ender. Just sort of like you're shaking your head. And I believe that is your turn. Ender, Auri has just sort of like fallen into your arms after you stumbling over the corpse of the Enkeg that you just felled.
Instead of her falling into my arms, like all like damsel, like I want to take her and slap her across the face and try to get her out of it. No, I'm kidding, honey. Just joking. And I'm going to jump over her, and I'm going to. Can I do an acrobatics check and get on the other side of the
Unfortunately, you can't get past him.
Even with an acrobatic? Okay, I understand. I'll stand right here.
Unfortunately, yeah, you can't.
And at the start of my turn, I'll do my charisma check.
You can move through the spaces of allies, but you can't move through the spaces of an enemy. And he dances in your face as you do so. Also,
can I shield my eyes?
I would like you. Yes, you may, and you can attack with disadvantage.
Okay, cool. That's what I'm gonna do. Do you think, would Ender have any knowledge on to be shielding his eyes against his Umberhulk?
Would you have any knowledge of this?
Yeah. I mean, I saw it happen to Ari.
Yeah, you've been watching your companions like going all loopy in front of you, and you watched Lithana stab near. I retconned it, of course, but you thought you saw Lithana nearly stab Esmer.
All right, I'm going to take out my sword and stab the big bug.
Big bug guy. That is a hit. As you step forward to this creature, it roars a challenge to you as you deal heavy damage, slashing into its carapace, carving off a section of its armored chitinous carapace.
Now for my second turn, or my second attack, I'd like to I use my bonus action to give myself advantage on the attack roll and give myself some temporary hit points. So can I take away the
Sorry, I caught most of that except for the very end. You said, "Can I take away
my disadvantage? Just have a plain attack."
How does that work?
So in my with my samurai ability, I have this thing called fighting. I gotta take this off. Fighting spirit, I think it is. Starting at 3rd level, I can use my bonus action to gain advantage on my attack.
It'll make it and turn it into a regular attack, correct?
Okay, I'm going to gain 5 temporary health, and I'm going to attack him again.
Okay. That is also a hit. As you deal another 9 slashing damage, cutting deep into this creature, you can see now that you've carved a large chunk into its wide chest area. And you can see the sort of like, almost like a big lump of pinkish crab meat underneath the chitinous carapace that has been ripped free from your attack. And you can see that something pulsating within it, like perhaps organs or maybe its heart.
That's where I'm aiming again. I'm going to action surge.
Okay.
This time I gotta get disadvantage though.
All right.
Okay. Because I can only do that advantage for one attack.
And unfortunately, that is a miss. As you attempt to take your sword and strike forth, but on your second, I'm assuming this is your second attack. Remember, action surge does not give you an extra action, or excuse me, an extra bonus action.
I understand. I'm not using my bonus action to attack.
Gotcha.
I just use my 2 attacks.
Okay.
I understand that. I play in a game where that rule is retconned and I hate it. It makes
Gotcha.
the fighter so strong.
Yeah, it shouldn't be retconned, because that's not how action surge works.
I know.
A player error and the DM doesn't know, to be fair.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, I forget rules all the time, and I just make stuff up to make the game more interesting.
It do happen. Okay, that is the end of my turn.
Okay. Gunthril, what will he do on his turn? Who wants to control Gunthril's actions?
I'm gonna vote for Eli, because he's been the... Actually, no. It's a tie between Eli and Zito of who's been the most quiet.
I mean, I could just make an action. How about that? He's gonna reach out and he's gonna cast Cure Wounds on Auri. How about that?
I like that. You can be Gunther.
Okay. I'll tell you what. He'll cast it at 2nd level.
Hear me.
All right. And then you'll get 12 hit points back as you feel the healing energies knitting you back together from the damage that you incurred from the fearsome Umber Hulk.
Nice. That's my whole health.
And then, let's see. Does he have anything you can do as a bonus action? I think that's it. I don't think he has anything that's bonus action. Alright, then it's Zito's turn. Zito clinging to the side of the wall. Your spider climb ability allowing you to just sort of... Your body is sort of like you're planking, sticking straight out from the side of the wall.
Zito is going to look at the torch next to the Umber Hulk, and he's going to cast pyrotechnics on it.
Okay.
And everyone within 10 feet of the torch must make a Constitution saving throw or be blinded until the end of my next turn.
Okay. So Koritari, Ender, and the Umber Hulk will need to make, what was that?
Constitution save.
Con save. Okay. The Ender succeeded. Koritari failed.
Oopie, the Umber Hulk roll.
Koritari, would you like to use your inspiration to not be blinded?
Sure.
Alright, I'll roll again for you. I believe a 20 will succeed, right?
Yes, the DC is 16.
Okay, so the only one that failed is the Umber Hulk. So you said the Umber Hulk is blinded, correct?
Yes, and I don't have the effect on that spell.
That's okay, I can drop blinded condition on him.
Alright, and I'll have my turn there.
Okay. And on the Umber Hulk's turn, does it save out of that at the end of its turn or the end of your next turn?
It wears off at the end of my next turn, so it's still blinded.
Okay, so it will attempt with its multi-attack to bash into Kortari and Ender. It is angry because it is horrible after affecting the group with its tantalizing, multifaceted eyes. Its eyes have now taken the full brunt of the pyrotechnics from the torch. It lashes out first against Kortari, attempting to gash her with its large claw-like hands, but misses. It then swings wide and attempts to attack Ender. And manages to hit Ender, surprisingly. Dealing 6 slashing damage to you, which was partially absorbed from 11. So after you carved into the creature several times, Ender, it attempts to whack Kortari, and then with its hand backhands you, nearly smacking you into the side of the wall and knocking you over. It then, feeling the momentum of its attack, attempts to grab you with its mandibles, again attacking with disadvantage. And just, I believe, 18 misses you. And Eli, it's your turn.
Eli wants to walk up to this wall,
Okay.
peek around.
Well, there's a little bug in your way, but as you peek around the corner, you can see that there's a large, hulking insect-like creature that is currently attacking Ender and Kortari. You can see Auri just sort of balancing against the wall a little bit, seemingly her head shaken. The same can be said for Esmer and for Lithana.
Can I see the creature clearly?
Not from where you're at.
Is it like, can I see it at all?
I mean, if you're trying to make an attack around a corner, that's not going to happen.
I know, move in here. Do I see it now?
Yes, you do. Would you like to avert your gaze?
No, I would not.
Okay, make a charisma save.
Dang, because spells only work if you see it.
It's true.
17.
That is a success. You are not confused by this creature.
Alright. I will cast...
I will assume
Chromatic Orb.
that its hands going up to its face as it's one hand trying to whack Kortari and Ender, and then it's trying to grab Ender with its mandibles. Eli whips around the corner, casting this chromatic orb, which coalesces and launches towards the creature.
And I cast it at level 3.
And that hits. And you watch as the orb impacts the creature. There's sort of this boom as it explodes all over the walls, coating the walls. Kortari and Ender are completely drenched from head to toe in this viscous yellowish orange fluid. And you are all out of combat.
Wow.
Ugh.
Thanks for making that save, Eli.
Anytime, really. Always.
Thank you. Courtney's like trying to wring out her hair of slime.
Eli looks around to the invisible wall and goes, Gunny, I hope you look like you do when you... normally!
And you just hear him purring in your ear. Only for you, precious. And as he says that, now you can all hear the cacophonous echo of the metallic armor plating shaking and rattling, as you can see that you are now all beset on all sides by these armored warriors that are rushing towards you all with long swords drawn. And there is the familiar sight of Sasek as he looks at you all and he says, "What is the meaning of this?" And he scans the hallway looking around and then looks at all of you with judgment in his eyes, and he says, "You were invited into our home as guests, and you repay this kindness by destroying the royal menagerie? Gods, seize them!" And rows and rows of metal-plated armored warriors holding longsword drawn out towards all of you now, as they are clearly wanting to hold you all for this row that has happened within the palace.
Koratari jumps to the front. Sasek, please, they had nothing to do with this. This is actually all my fault. She kind of smiled.
And Sasek looks at you and says, this is your doing?
Well, completely by accident, of course. I was giving our guest here a tour, and I bumped into something, the wall, the button. I'm not quite sure. It's very hazy after this fight. But yes, I accept full responsibility for this, of course.
Let's see. I believe that's a deception check.
Well, I guess it's okay.
Which you rolled a 15, Koratari.
Yes.
Sasek looks at you, and you can tell that he was ready to fight. He was ready to launch into a tirade on you. And as he looks to you, you can see his demeanor softens a bit. And he says, "Where is the prince and the princess? Where's the queen?"
Oh, I can assure you they're all safe. The queen is with Volo, of course. The princess, and she kind of looks around. She's not sure where the princess is at this moment. Oh, I believe they're in the next chamber.
And as you say that now, from behind Eli and Zito, you both hear the sounds of footfalls as the prince and princess now are rushing up on the scene. And the princess pushes past all of you towards Sasek and throws her arms around Sasek and says, "Father, it was horrible. It was absolutely terrible. The menagerie, it came to life and attacked us." And Sasek looks down at Princess Corinne and says, "Are you all right? Did any of these ruffians hurt you?" And the princess looks and says, "No, I'm fine. I want to get away from here. Please." And Sasek looks down and looks back to one of the guards and says, "Please, take the princess to her chambers at once. The rest of you, escort them to the main hall, to the throne room. I want to have a word with the queen." And one by one, the armored warriors look to each of you, and they seem to be allowing you to gather yourselves, gather your belongings, but they seem to be getting ready to begin herding all of you out of this area of Fairhold, back towards the throne room.
Lithana will make her way over to Core to talk.
And also, I will award experience to you guys for that encounter. You each received 443 experience points for that encounter.
Hey.
And Koratari, Lithana has sidled up to you now, snapping out of this horrible, headache-inducing sparkle that seemed to send you off and nearly attacking your cousin. She's now shaking the cobwebs from her head as well, and sticking close to you.
Hey,
I kind of side-eye Lithana. What actually happened back there? I'm whispering that quietly to her.
She's like, wait, so you didn't do it?
Of course not.
I have no idea. But thanks for covering our asses.
Well, it's the least I could do. I know you're not actually rough yet. But, ask around if you can when you have a moment.
Got it.
What are the rest of you doing during this time while you're all being led in single file down this wide hall?
Zito is going to collect his turret. He's going to put it back in his bag. Get off the wall and walk towards the throne room.
Okay.
I'll walk with Zito.
Is Guthril still invisible, Eli?
Gunny.
Doesn't that... I think that lasts for, what, an hour?
A minute.
Oh, a minute. So yeah, he's no longer invisible. He's just pantsless, walking towards the throne room. No longer in his tiger form.
I'll, as he's pantsless, I'll walk up to him and touch him and cast regular invisibility on him.
Okay. Before you can do that, one of the guards takes his sword and points it towards you and says, "Don't move."
Do you think this is presentable? And he kind of looks over at Gunny.
And Gunny says, "Oh, what are you talking about? I do this all the time back on the ship. This is where I come from. This is our culture. We always take our pants off after a big meal." Gotta air out the underreaching, don't you know?
Yeah,
Now put that sword away or I'll whop you in the head with my penis. And the guard just kind of looks at him, looks at you, Eli, and says, "No funny business, alright? Keep your Goliath under control."
that's what I was trying to do. And he'll step back in line.
He's perverted.
And Gunny immediately starts flirting with the guard.
He's petting him. So it takes a little while. These halls are long, they're twisting. They curve about after going straight. You're now you've been herded away from the destruction that occurred in the hall leading up to the dining hall, between the dining hall and the menagerie. And eventually you find yourselves led into the throne room. And within the throne room, you can see row after row of armored warrior. And you can also see two larger construct-like beings that are standing at attention in the hall, close to the actual row of thrones at the rear of the chamber. They weren't there before. And Sasek says, as he approaches, the queen has already assembled. She is seated within her throne, and she looks a bit disheveled. And she says, "Sasek, what is the meaning of this? Why are you harassing my guests?" And Sasek then lays out before you, "My queen, there has been some sort of foolishness which has resulted in the destruction of many of your father's prized monsters, the creatures that have been collected and stored within the menagerie for decades, are now destroyed. I can only assume that only 2 of the pieces are left, if that." And the queen just sort of looks at him, her brow furrowed, looks to your group, looks to you, Cortari. "Is this true?"
Yes, it is true.
Oh,
However,
thank
I
the
can
gods.
tell you-
I've been meaning to turn that into a dance hall anyway. Sasek, will you please let these poor people go about their business and stop harassing them? The children are safe, yes? And Sasek sort of looks towards you, Koratari. The princess obviously not with. Prince Rogar followed the party behind, staying in lockstep with Zito and Ender. Well, I don't see any why we should hold these poor people up anymore. Captain Eli, you and your crew did an exemplary job entertaining us. I appreciate all that you and your companions have done to keep my children from being slain by the creatures that were left in my father's menagerie. If you would be so kind as to allow me to have a conversation with my concubine, I believe that our business is concluded here. You may go about your business. Koratari, you may escort them to the Eyrie. They may use the Knights Dragonhawks to head back to Chalice Center if they wish, or anywhere else in the city.
Of course, Your Majesty.
Well, thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
You're welcome. Volo, my dear. I'm expecting a signed copy from you later. And Volo, who is the far outer edges, seemingly trying to scoot and shuffle and sneak his way out of the chamber, just sort of jumps a bit. As he's walking out of the chamber with his attendant, he looks back and says, of course! My queen, of course, I will send that your way as soon as possible, ASAP. Now I must be going. And he turns around and begins rushing towards the wide double doors which are opening as the guards are opening them out for him.
Can Lethana tell whether or not Volo seems guilty?
You can make a perception check.
Okay. Would that be
Or
more
actually, no.
insight, or-
Make an insight check. I apologize. You know that sight that you see when somebody tries to sneak out of somebody's bedroom after being overnight and trying to leave at like the wee hours of the morning?
Gotcha.
That's
Not like a... Oh, I undid the magic of a, decade-long spell.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the one by one, you're all led away from the throne room, back through the twisting halls towards the docking platform, where the waiting Dragonhawks are.
Zito's gonna stay well away from any of the mouths of those Dragonhawks.
Okay, make a perception check. Sort of like a flutter of large wings as one of the Dragonhawks lands just within feet of you, and just woof, and you feel the air from it nearly knocks you on your butt as it lands right to the side, just to behind your left shoulder. You feel the air pressure as it lands.
Zito's immediately gonna run behind Ari.
Okay. And Koratari, it is up to you now what you wish to do with your companions. Or I should say, it's up to your companions what they wish to do now. They have the opportunity of heading back to the airship and meeting with the crew and determining what you'd like to do next, or you can do whatever.
Well, my friends, this is it. Should you have any questions or need any service from myself, please let me know. It was lovely to see everyone again.
It's nice seeing you again too, Koratari. But I think
Yes.
we should be getting on our way.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Of course. Luckily, everything worked out for us.
So, I'm just going to pose this question. What the hell happened to...
Is Lizana asking Koratari or just everybody in general?
She's asking everyone.
I think the one who would know best would be Eli. He was in the room when it happened.
So look to Eli.
Gunther just sort of elbows you, Eli, and tries to grab you around your shoulders and hold you into a little side hug.
What did happen?
Little man is growing up.
Mess with anything?
Oh, nothing happened. I was out of the room by the time all the commotion started.
Does Lithana believe him?
I don't know, does she?
Yep.
He seemed, I mean, unless you want to... I would say that he seems pretty forthright. Would you like to roll a deception check, Derek? Eli? I mean, you're not really you're not really lying, honestly.
I know, that's what I'm saying, because I dimension door.
Eli just seems a bit embarrassed. A little sheepish look on his face. Like maybe he got ambushed.
In many ways.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, honestly, a good fight kind of got my head right again, so I don't mind.
You know, Eli, she was saying something about you trying to kiss her and stuff. That really just doesn't sound like you.
Oh, yes. It wasn't. It was a cover.
Esmer sidles up to you, Lithana, and says, "Take it off again."
Yes.
Well, I suppose you'll be wanting this. And she has this little bag that she has slung over her shoulder, and she now pulls out this large metallic urn. There are no markings on it, from what you can tell. It seems to be in pristine shape, and it appears to be sealed with a precious metal, like it's been sealed with platinum.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Esmer. Her face just looks kind of, well, just multiple emotions, confused and numb.
And Esmer looks to you and says, "You're welcome. Well, do you want me to see you off to your vessel? I have a mind to get an eyeful of what your captain is rolling around these parts in."
Oh, yes, of course, you can come along.
As long as that's alright with your friends.
I mean, I wouldn't even mind if you traveled with us for a while, but it's really up to you. Unless
Well,
you have other matters.
I don't have anything pressing. Where are you all headed again? I think you mentioned something about heading west.
To the Shadow Marshes, right?
Marches.
Right?
The marches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's a bit not too out of the way of where I was planning on going. I was planning on returning to the Eldeen Reaches, so I can probably stop off in the near. If you happen to stop at any town in the Eldeen Reaches, I can stop off there. I'll come with you. No worries. My business is concluded in this region.
Lithana just looks over at Eli. I don't know what our travel looks like.
Are you talking to me? You want her to come along?
If it's not any inconvenience, but if it's too out of the way, that she can find her another way.
I believe we have one more stop before we go to the Shadow Marshes. I don't know how close it is to your destination.
Well, where are you stopping?
DM? Where am I stopping?
He doesn't want to mess it up.
Your last stop before crossing the Biesk Mountains, I'm gonna very short jaunt over the land of Droam would be Greenheart, which is the destination of your the bombastic Queen swooning Volo and his companion.
Yes, I knew that we were dropping off Volo. Yes, that place. Yes, that's the next stop.
Greenheart, huh? Well,
Yes.
it's not the worst place in the world to stop for a bite to eat, I suppose. Fine with me if you'll take me on, Captain.
Oh, don't worry. It's Captain Stormbringer.
She looks to you, Luthana, and says, "Is this one taken?"
She just leaves it there.
And she just sort of very softly punches you in the shoulder, Luthana, and says, "I'm just kidding. All right, let's go. Let's get the show on the road." And she just sort of hops, skips, and jumps on the back of a dragon hawk, which wasn't paying attention. It was pruning one of itself. And you just hear it go and flutter. And you just hear Esmer cursing and yelling out, "Just quiet down, you stupid beast. Captain, you're riding with me. Get over here."
Gunny, you sure you don't want me to go with you, Gunny?
And Gunny just sort of looks at you and says, "Oh, looks like you have your own date. I'm gonna ride with Ender." Ender.
Eli.
And Ender is... wherever Ender is, Gunthro has sidled up, and he's very slowly putting his hands on his shoulders from behind and smelling his hair.
Yeah.
You ready for a wild ride?
No.
And with that, one by one, you all mount your Dragon Hawks in whichever configuration pleases you. And you find yourselves traveling back towards the Chalice Center, which is where the New Horizon is docked. And upon arrival, Captain Eli, your first mate, who appears to have had his arm healed in the interim since seeing him, he looks to you and he says, "Captain, how are you?"
Good.
I had a request for some passengers to a place called Delathorn. It's on the way to Greenheart. They'll net us 1,500 gold pieces.
Oh, that is great. Yes. How many passengers?
Just 3.
All right. And any information about the crew? New crew?
We got a couple of more. You requested more Warforged, correct?
Yes, I did.
We have acquired replacements, and we also Grimley is already back. He's in his quarters. The security have already arranged for Vernon to rest in his quarters. He should be ready to go. And we had you had requested that I hire a new bosun.
Yes. One that will take extra care of our cargo. And check it.
I went ahead and took care of that. His name is Zell. He's from the Lazar Principalities. Apparently he used to run with a Lorandar crew. He's a Lorandar elf. I've never met him before.
I don't think I've met that man, but very good. I'm happy. Thank you. I got a bit caught up, so I couldn't really have time to look for anybody. So I really appreciate it.
I understand, sir. I'm here to help you out as much as I can. The crew have already loaded what they needed to load it. Everyone's aboard, except for the new passengers. That dandy fellow and his bodyguard have already boarded.
Good. I was just about to ask you if Volo has boarded.
Yep, he's boarded. He's on board.
All right. When the new passengers get here, we'll set sail.
Oh, I believe they're just clearing customs right now, but we'll be ready to go as soon as you're ready. You just give us the word, and we'll set off.
Perfect. All right, guys, let's go. Let's get on board. Let's get ready to set sail.
One by one, unless you have other business that you wish to conduct, you may all board the New Horizon.
Yeah, Eli will step on.
Okay.
I'll follow.
The deck, the decks seem to be freshly lacquered, as if the Warforged crew during this time have been spending all of their time mending any damage from what transpired before. And also attempting to impress you, Captain Eli, trying to do what they can to make the New Horizon seem like it's brand new.
It looks very good. I'll compliment them. Thank you.
And they, the new bosun, who is within the cargo hold, is a very tall, wide, elven man. Balding, and you can see that he has a tattoo, a dragon marked mark, which starts on the top of his head and stretches back to the back of his skull. It almost seems like it covers all the way down his neck. You can see it seems to stretch beneath his collar and along all the way down his back potentially. It's sort of like a lilac-colored dragon mark, and he turns and looks at you and flashes you a smile, Eli, and he says, "Well, hello there, sir. I believe that I work for you now."
Yes, indeed. It's nice to meet you, Captain Stormbringer.
Stormbringer, eh? Hi. Sounds familiar. Seem to remember serving under Stormbringer at some point in time.
Really? When?
Possibly. During the war. I used to run elemental galleons out for House Lorandar out of, boring stuff, shipping spices and various textiles this way and that way all around the nations during the war. Keeping out of the combat as much as I possibly can. I mean, I can't do something to this pretty face. Look at me.
Yes, yeah, I flew. I wasn't in charge of any ships. I piloted during the war.
Oh, really?
I was no captain. Yes,
Well,
cargo ships.
You bear the mark, sir.
Yes, of course. That's why I fly the ship.
I happen to be a bearer of the mark myself. Perhaps we
I
can have
heard.
a private conversation later on if you're feeling up to it. Perhaps we can chit-chat about each other's backgrounds.
Yes, I would appreciate that.
But in the meantime, I need to whip this rabble into shape. I had them scrub to a millimeter every square inch of this level of the ship. I hope that's alright. I don't want to push them too hard being on the job my first day.
No worries. I appreciate a good clean ship.
Alright. You're the captain, Captain. And he gives you a little salute and he turns around and he says, Alright, you bunch of bug-eating rabble. Get to it, Captain's on board. Let's get all this stowed away. I don't want to see a single one of you leaning. If you got time to lean, you've got time to clean. And he continues to yell and shout orders, and you can just see each of the Warforged seem energized by this new bosun, and they are scattering about, going off in different directions on the ship now.
I turn to the group and I like that guy.
And your first mate looks at you and says, I thought you might. He seems pretty straight to the point. A straight arrow. So that's probably what we need, to be honest. Especially after what happened the other day.
Yeah. Since our company's kind of new, we can't really have that happen again.
And you can now hear the sound of like sort of shuffling footsteps. As you turn around, Eli, you see these three minstrels are now approaching you. One of them appears to be a rather large orc carrying a drum. And you can see now a short, gnomish woman who is carrying a set of bagpipes and slung over her arm. They're almost as big as she is. And then you see what appears to be a toadstool person. It's very strange. You've not really encountered someone like this before. But this little toadstool person is wide and thick and squat. And it seems to be carrying on the top of its head all of these various instruments. And stretching out from the back of it, seemingly almost like it's a part of its form, is what appears to be a couple of arcs that stick out, almost like the framework of a set of wings. And you can see that there are strings stretching from the top to the bottom of it. It appears to have two harps built into its back like wings.
Interesting.
And the gnomish woman says, I'll be the captain.
Yes, that is me. I'm the captain.
On our way to Delathorn. If that's all right with you.
Yes, that is our next stop.
Fine. Where can we find our accommodations? Who do we talk to?
And he kind of like motions to one of the warforges on the deck.
Ah, gotcha. And the gnomish woman, who has this purple hair, which is braided and sticking straight out. It kind of looks like a bunch of Cheetos, as if someone took a bunch of Cheetos and stuck them to her head in various angles. And you can see these little bells that are hanging from the ends of them. And as she walks past you, you just hear this cacophony of tiny little bells that are shaking as her head shakes a little bit as she walks past you. And the little mushroom man continues, just sort of shuffles behind her, just poof, poof, poof.
Zell.
Yes, sir. Yes, Captain. Excuse me.
If you could have one of the warforges show them to their rooms, please.
Oh, very well, sir. I will do that presently. Just to be clear, your companions, not the officers of the ship, but and he now gestures sort of sheepishly towards the rest of the group. If you're all still assembled here on the cargo hold and haven't already disappeared into the ship, and he says, just to be clear, I don't want to give any of your companions' rooms away.
Yes, their names are on the door.
I understand that, sir, but I don't know anything about the ship yet, so if you could just direct me to which level of the ship I shouldn't be sending them to?
Oh, yes. Oh, well, then, in that case, I will show them personally to their rooms.
Okay.
And come with me. I will show you on the ship as well.
Okay. What about the rest of the group? What are you guys doing?
I think Ender is going to retire for the evening.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go.
Right now, it is. It's not quite midday. It's a little bit after. It's about. Your best guess would be about 3:30 in the afternoon.
Can I go to the lounge and go drink a little bit?
Sure.
That's where I'd like to be. Where the fight broke out last time. That little area.
Oh,
That's where I'm gonna be.
the pool level, the deck.
Yes, the pool level. The deck.
Gotcha. Okay. What about the rest of the group? What about you, Zito? What are you up to?
Unless Ari wants to go and talk about those books written in Giant, Zito's going to go to his workshop.
Okay.
Yeah, I can go. I'll tell him about whatever I read in the books that he couldn't read that I could read.
Okay. And Gonthro will just follow Ender to the lounge, as he should. And he proceeds to shear off the rest of his armor, as he is home now. And he just walks around in a loincloth, not quite in the buff, and splays out in one of the lounge chairs. And what about you, Luthana? Esmer has been sort of quizzically following behind you a bit, and she's just sort of studying the cargo hold right now as you stand within the cargo hold.
She'll find a room for the Esmerd. She'll say that she will cover her fee for the ship, and she puts her urn away.
That's a good question. We didn't really discuss that with Eli.
Yeah. Well, Lethana would pay for it, her.
What do you mean? Family is free.
Oh. Okay.
I should tell my brothers and sisters about that.
Oh, well.
Entire cargo hold full of kobolds. Kobolds
Well.
from floor to ceiling. Kobolds everywhere.
Family's free for the week.
Limit 1.
Yeah, it's
I'll just
limit
keep booking
1.
pickets.
A +1.
Yeah, you can have a +1.
And then she would like to join Ari and Zido in the workshop with her, and she would bring her book.
Okay. Esmer, she kind of follows behind you a bit, and then she decides to go off and explore the ship.
Cool.
Okay. So after a while, Eli, after you've found accommodations for the new passengers, your first mate reaches out to you and asks when you would like to set off. That the time is money and the hours are burning late.
I agree. I'll call up to the my first officer.
Okay.
We need to set sail immediately.
Okay. Elro says back to you, "Of course, at once. Did you want to speak to Grimley, sir? I believe he retired to his quarters."
Yes, I will speak to Grimley.
Okay.
Thank you, Elro.
Pretty sure you can find him in his quarters. I don't think he's left.
Alright, I will head over. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, sir.
And I'll walk away from the intercom. Sentinel, just like that. You're right. Time is money. I like a man like you. And I'll head over to Grimley's quarters.
Okay. As you approach Grimley's quarters, you just hear this sound of something being impacting the wall, just like a as you approach the door. And as you open the door, if you do so, you see a disheveled, wearing a nightshirt and a simple pair of pants, leaning against his bed, not quite sitting on the edge of the bed. You can see now, it looks like he's tossed his tankard of ale, which is spilt and is all over the floor. And he's now slips down onto the floor now, and is using his beard to mop the ale up off of the planks. And he turns and looks at you and he says, Captain, caught me in a bad time, I'm afraid. Can't quite get anything right, it seems, today. And he's a little bit, his skin, which is normally this sort of tanned, leathery skin, he seems a bit clammy. And you can tell that he's not all quite there at the moment. He looks at you, and then his eyes just sort of look away. And he seems to be reaching out, and every so often he just sort of pounds the side of his pectoral muscle with his fist, and coughs a little bit.
You alright, Grimley? You don't look so good.
You got that right. I was fucking dead.
Yes. I mean, do you want to die? Or do you want to be alive? I thought you wanted a second chance.
It wasn't quite in my contract to die. But who can predict that, right?
Yes, that's... I didn't want your life to be in my hands.
And he continues to just sort of exhale and exclaim, like, as he's leaning now against the stool next to his bedside table. And he just sort of holds his hand out, as if to take your hand.
I'll grab his hand.
And he braces himself as he begins to right himself and pull himself up. And he looks to you and he says, I'm sorry about that. Got a bit too excited. Got myself in a bit of a pickle. I promise I won't do it again.
No worries.
And I will pay you back.
What do you mean pay me back? No. Don't. It's on me.
I'm not one to welch on things I am owed, Captain.
You don't owe me anything.
Apparently, I owe you my life.
Well, how about this? You take a few days off, rest. I'll let the cook know to bring your food to your room. Relax. Get back to yourself.
You know I'm not a shiftless layabout.
I know.
I'm not about to start... We just started our maiden voyage. I'm not about to spend my days holed up in my room like some sort of toadstool.
Alright, one day, captain's orders. You sleep?
Well, that's more like it. That's the Eli that I remember.
Yes, one day, sleep.
Where's your hat?
I must have left it. I really gotta get another one. I forgot my hat.
You've all been wearing that thing for weeks.
I know.
First time I've seen you without it. Are you going bald?
No.
He sort of reaches up now. He's trying to reach the top of your head.
I fell off. I got to the little pickle. Like you.
Apparently we're all pickles. Alright, I won't take up any more of your time. Time is money, I get it.
Get some sleep. Rest. I said
And-
one day and one night. Don't leave.
His beard is completely sopped with like the foam from his ale, and he's just been like wringing it back into the tankard this whole time you've been talking to him. And he takes the tankard and he empties it in his mouth down his throat.
Do you need some water? I can send for the chef to bring you some water.
If you have any skull splitter, I'll take that. And he just sort of pulls himself, lays back onto his bed now, and just lets out a big, oof, oh. Is the ship spinning? I feel like it's spinning.
Get some rest. Remember, one day, one night, and he kind of steps out. Captain's orders, and he shuts the door.
Captain's orders! Captain Eli! Where's my ale? And his voice, as you slide out of his room, closing it the door behind you, you can just hear now the sound of him loudly snoring as he drifts off into rest. The New Horizon casts off upon the approval of Captain Eli, and you all head off away from the city of Fairhaven, off towards the edge of the borders of Ondare and the Eldeen Reaches. So what would you all like to do the rest of the day?
I'm gonna anything that I read in that giant book that's helpful to Zito. I would want to like tell him what it says, and then after that, I'm going to go and take a dip in the pool.
Okay. As you finish pouring through the tomes that detail the age of the giants, you're got a bit of a headache from reading and translating for Zito. Heading down the long passageway, going through series of doors, and eventually finding yourself on the pool deck. And as you pass through the final set of double doors, off in a corner, in an area far away from anyone who would be still on the deck, you see that strange harlequin that has been traveling with Volo is kneeling down and seems to be meditating.
Okay, I'm gonna just kind of observe her from afar to see if I can figure out what it is she's doing.
The harlequin doesn't seem to be moving an inch. Seems to be 100% focused, staring straight ahead, staring towards the back of the ship. Knelt down, arms slack at the sides, and it seems to be wearing the same outfit that it was wearing when it first came on board the ship with Volo. Doesn't seem like it's changed its attire. It does appear to have changed the mask that it was wearing. It seems to be wearing the mask that has the more happy visage. And as you get closer, if you get closer to this individual, you pick up a faint smell. It smells like pressed flowers. It seems to waft off of and almost permeate this area where this individual is kneeling.
Okay, I'm gonna meekly just wave at her and see if she reacts to me.
There's a gentle stir as the silent guardian of Volothamp Gadarm turns and regards you, and through the mask, though you can't see a face, it appears to regard you for a moment, and very slight, gentle nod in your direction. It holds for a few moments more, and then the head turns, staring straight forward again. And that smell of pressed flowers almost seems to, within those few moments that seem to last forever, seem to get more intense. The smell of flowers just seems to get stronger, as if you're in a glade or a thicket. Like you feel like you're in the forest again almost. It's almost intoxicating, the smell of flowers.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but did you leave me this? And I'm gonna pull the flower necklace up from under my shirt or wherever it was sitting.
And the mute Harlequin turns and regards you again, slowly, head turning so slowly you can almost hear the tendons. And the individual looks at you, and then its head tilts downward and it looks at what you're holding in your hands. And then it gestures with its gloved hand out, as if to take it from you.
I'm gonna get closer to her, but I'm still gonna like keep my hands on it, but get closer to her so that she can look at it better.
Okay. The Harlequin now grabs this wreath of flowers, which you've identified as star flowers, and will take it from you if you allow it to. It will take it from you.
I'm gonna like look down and kind of sigh because I thought that they were really beautiful and they reminded me of my past, but I will let go and let her hold it.
And the Harlequin takes it from you and is now holding the wreath in its hands, and seems to hold it for a while, almost uncomfortably so, not regarding you, and then silently begins to hold the hands out in front of it, raising them up and stretching out it and gesturing towards you as if to say, put your head down.
Okay. I'll just bow my head.
And as you do, the mute very gingerly places it over your head and over your neck once again, allowing it to rest very, very softly on your shoulders, and pulls its hands away almost immediately as soon as the flowers, this wreath of flowers, is around your head. And you can hear the soft tinkle of the thin crystalline material that seems to that coats these flowers, that seems to almost preserve them. And the mute just sort of regards you, stares straight ahead at you, and says nothing.
I'm sorry, but I don't think I understand.
And as soon as you say that, the mute stands up almost violently and immediately turns around and begins walking away.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. I'll be going now.
And
I'm gonna rush off.
as the make a perception check. In the place where this individual was kneeling, you can see now that there are flower petals that are scattered about where this person was kneeling. They appear to be identical to that of the flowers that compose that wreath. But these are fresh, as if they've been freshly picked.
Okay. I'm gonna pick a few of them up and I'm not going to bother her any longer. But I'm going to change my plan of going to the pool. I'm going to head back to the library or workshop, wherever Zito is.
Okay. And what about the rest of the group? What are you doing, Eli?
I'm back up in my
In the command
chambers.
in your chambers, the command center. Okay.
Yeah, my command center.
After a while, there's a gentle knock on your doors.
I'll walk over and open the door.
Okay. As soon as you open the door, you see the sight of a demure Esmeralda Aisha leaning against the door jamb, holding 2 empty crystalline glasses and a decanter of some sort of presumably alcoholic beverage. And she's wearing now this very thin gown. Almost seems like a sleeping gown. Seems to be made of a fine material. And she just sort of purrs as she looks at you and says, "Captain?"
Yes, I was just about to go to my shift. I got the night shift, unfortunately. I know I'm the captain, but someone has to fly the boats, right?
And she just sort of pushes her way into your room and says, "So, this is where the captain lives, I see. Very nice, very nice." And she just sort of walks by and traces a finger as she's deftly holding both glasses in her hand. She traces a loose finger along one of your bookshelves and then just sort of smudges it with her against her thumb. Turns around, looks at you, and says, "I don't believe I've received the grand tour yet."
Oh yes, here I can arrange it. He kind of like starts walking out the door to the bridge. Here, follow me. I'll show you the bridge.
Oh, very well. I'll wait for you, dear. I'll wait for you here.
Oh, it's gonna be a while. I gotta do my shift on the bridge, to fly the boat at night.
Oh, I'm quite sure that your crew are more than capable of taking care of the ship. Why don't you show me around here? What's this? And she now is gesturing towards your shower. I've seen one of these before. This is interesting. And she starts playing with it. She's still holding the decanter in one hand and the 2 glasses in the other. And she goes, "Oh, I'm so rude. Captain, would you like a drink?" And she immediately pulls the stopper out with her teeth and begins pouring the drink into each of the glasses now and offers one of them towards you.
Oh, hey, remember the bridge. Can't drink on duty. He'll start walking to the bridge.
And she just sort of says, "All right, dear, well, I'll be here when you get back." And she just sort of sits down in your lounge area and begins downing one of the glasses. And as you exit the room and catch a quick glance back, you're pretty sure she downed the other glass as well.
I walk onto the bridge.
Okay. What are you doing, Lithana?
Lithana went over to Zito and Ari to hang out with them.
Okay. So you spent some time in the room as Auri spent a great deal of time going over and translating these tomes that detailed a great bit of the history of the giants in Eberron. And Zito has been going over these translations as he's been furiously writing the translations as Auri has been dictating to him. She disappeared for a bit, and then she came back now with a handful of what appears to be flower petals.
Oh, so you found the person that put the flowers on your pillow? Zero mentioned.
Maybe? But look at... These ones are fresh.
Zito's gonna come out of it. Look at those petals.
They appear to be a more not preserved version of the petals from the wreath of flowers that Auri presented to you, Zito.
Who gave these to you, Ari?
These ones weren't given to me. It's not like the first time. I saw the Harlequin, and you remember the one that was in the lobby? I saw her or it or whatever it is, and I tried speaking with it because I smelled the flowers. I showed her my necklace. She got really strange. It's like, at first, she seemed like she was happy. She placed them around my neck, and then she kind of angrily turned off and left. And these were on the floor where she was.
That is strange. Do you remember her or something about her from your past?
I don't recall. I recall these flowers. I definitely recall these flowers, but I don't recall her in any way. Well, I mean, could it be a person? It could be. Maybe I do know them. Maybe that's why they're hiding their face.
When Nathana was looking at the Harlequin, did it seem human or was it machine?
I think you asked me before if you thought it was a construct.
Right. Oh no, it was not a construct, right?
Yeah, it definitely appeared to move with grace, as if it was not like a herky-jerky movement or a mechanical movement.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Eli is writing letters to the Penthouse forums.
That is sending, my friend.
You get back an exasperated sigh.
Nathana will give Zido her bow and arrows. Say, I guess I'm ready to part with it for a bit if you want to work on it.
Oh, sure, I can have this back to you by tomorrow if you like. You wouldn't even know it's gone.
Thanks. And then Nathana puts the urn on the table.
So, Lathana, what is that urn you're carrying?
It's a long story.
I think we got plenty of time between stops if you would like to share.
Well, this is someone who used to be named Tamir. He was a very good friend. More than a very good friend. And then she just kind of cuts off.
I see. Well, I'm not going to push you to talk about it if you don't want to. But, maybe it's better if we just go down to the workshop and I can show you how I can fix up your bow.
Sure, that might get my mind off of things.
Again, Zito's gonna take Latana's bow in both of his hands and carefully take it down out of the library and down the stairs. Meanwhile, I'm not sure if you're gonna follow him or not, but he's just constantly spouting on ways that he can augment and make the bow more efficient and easier to draw and all that other jazz.
Oh yeah, she's taking it in. She She seems like she's listening, but also seems kind of like she has this kind of sad look on her face. But seems like your words are keeping her company, or at least distracted.
It's and all Zito's really doing, he's taking what seems to be like two screws, and he's making a clip out of them, and he's attaching it to the handle of your longbow, and then he snips the bowstring on the longbow, and he reattaches another small washer to it, and he attaches both of that, and then he gives you your bow back. And let me put that back in the party inventory so you can take it.
Oh.
There you go.
What? Holy cow.
Zito just turned your longbow into a machine gun.
Yeah.
What does that do? What does that do? Like,
Well,
repeating.
Let's see.
I die. That's nice.
Let's see. The weapon requires no ammunition. It magically produces one piece of ammunition each time you make a ranged attack.
So basically, it's the bow from the old Dungeons and Dragons cartoon that would fire like laser arrows.
Yeah, it just
Wait.
shoots forever. You don't have to worry about running out of arrows anymore.
Wait, but there's like a really sad disclaimer at the end. If Zito dies, the magic dissipates from the longbow and the number of days equal to his intelligence modifier, 4 days.
Aw,
So sad.
that is so sad.
Yeah, so keep Zito alive.
I will guard you with my life. You have my bow and my axe. I don't know if you got that reference.
I know you had
Of course,
an
we
axe.
get the Lord of the Rings reference.
That's pretty sweet.
It does require attunement, so you need to make your choice, Lathana.
Well, that's an easy choice, and she'll take the time to focus on it and focus on her bow and try to get a.
I was gonna say, do you guys want to take a short rest to heal up, or did you want to just go ahead on to your long rest? I would assume you guys have already taken essentially a long rest. If you guys want to spend hit die, you can. I'll mark you guys as taking a short rest.
I would love a long rest personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured you guys would, but I mean, enough time has like gone by that you technically can benefit from a long rest. So I'll spend a hit die for Gunthral. Nice. He is 100%. Eli, are you going to spend some hit die too?
I mean, are we going to bed?
Yeah, you're going to bed. I just figured that, you know, you've got enough that you could benefit from a short rest at the very least. You could spend some hit die.
Oh, is it sleeping a short rest?
Short rest, you get to spend as many hit die as you want during a short rest.
Okay. Oh, so we're not taking a long rest?
Not yet. It's not time yet.
Oh.
Like you guys have
Then
been you guys have been in flight for like a few hours now.
Oh, okay.
You might want to heal up before something happens. Eli.
That's what I think is what he's trying to say.
Okay. All right.
Now to prove us wrong, you have to make sure the next hour is safe.
So, dinner comes and goes, and you're all left on your own to retire for the evening at whatever time you decide to go to bed. What do you do? We'll start with you first, Eli. What do you do? Do you just go straight to your quarters and hang out with Esmeralda, or
I'm asleep on the bridge.
you sleep on the bridge? Yeah, she's still in your room. She hasn't left.
I'll have the guards come and show her to Gunny's room. How did she get up here anyway? Who let her up here? I want to know. There's a code lock. Why do you change the code?
All right. So what about the rest?
That password was a hard password.
What about you, Luthana?
Luthana will attempt to collect Esmeralda and have a conversation with her just about life and what she's learned. Maybe
Okay.
work on the encryption thing.
Okay. She hangs out with you. She seems a bit sloshed when you find her stumbling out of an elevator. Looks like she spilt a bit of drink on her nice silk slip that she's just gallivanting around the decks in. And she just sort of looks at you sheepishly as Ender rushes down the hall past you two and says, "I gotta go pick up a pizza."
From the cook.
From the cook. Cook is making him is invented the pizza. It's apparently a delicacy in the Shadow Marches.
I like it.
So she allows you to collect her, and you guys go off. And then is that what you do for the rest of your evening? You just talk to her?
Yeah, see if they can figure out the encryption, or not.
Unfortunately, you get the impression that this appears to require some sort of a codex in order to decrypt. So you have a feeling that you're going to have to find someone who is knowledgeable with this type of manuscript, and based on your experience, the only person you ever knew who was knowledgeable with this sort of thing was your two cousins, Zara and the other one. They used to send each other messages when they were children in code.
Oh.
And they tried to teach you, but it was a bit over your head. Math is hard.
Man.
But you have a feeling that given enough time with this, you could probably decipher some of it.
Okay.
So eventually, Esber slinks off to find a place to lay her head and leaves you. And do you retire to your chamber for the evening? Or do you
Yep.
do anything else?
She'll just try to work on that and stare at the urn and work on it. And...
Okay. And what about you, Zito? What do you do?
Zito's gonna stay in his workshop and he's gonna continue to refine his designs on a new invention of his.
Okay. And how about you, Auri?
I'm going to be in the library looking through to see if there's any books on any types of creatures that, well, I wouldn't know exactly what to look for, but I'm looking for any kind of creature that maybe is plant-like.
Okay. And do you know what Ender would be doing besides getting his pizza?
He probably would take a bath and then be cleaning his sword, I would
Okay.
assume. Those seem like very Ender things to do.
Okay. And we'll just say that Gunthral is, let's see. Whoops. We'll say that Gunthral is found himself a nice place to hunker down for the evening. Guys never really decided on who gets what room. There's so many rooms on this ship. You guys wanted to figure that out now?
Oh, we have that.
Yeah, I thought we had the. Yeah.
We do.
Okay.
Crap.
Well, I'll tell you what. Since you guys are getting ready to take a long rest, why don't we know where Eli sleeps? Why don't you guys designate what level of the ship your rooms are on?
We were all on the same level,
On the
except for Zito was by the workshop.
Okay.
And then I know which one that Gunny was in the big room. If you're looking at the picture of it, he's on the top one, the furthest left one that's bigger. Like there's two that are bigger.
Not next to the
He's on the
elevator,
top
but
one.
across. It was like across.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was, yeah, the top one.
Gotcha. All right,
And
we'll say.
then my room was between his and Ender's, so my room was next to Gunny, and then next to that was Ender, and then I believe that Sabrina was across from me.
All right, hold on. Sorry, I put Gunthral in his room. Who was next?
Mine is next to Gunthral's, to the right of his.
Okay. And
To the right of me was Ender.
Okay, Ender was right next to you.
Yep.
All right, you guys are in the same row, right next to each other. All right. Zito,
then-
your room was across from the workshop.
Yes.
Okay, so you're a level down on the storage gifts. Got it. Eli, we know where you're sleeping. On the bridge, right?
Yeah. I need 2 guards posted up at the elevator.
And what about you, Luthana?
Hers was across the hall from me, if I remember correctly. I have a screenshot. I just don't know where. I can't find it.
No worries. I think I can figure it out, like where you guys are all. This is like the first time I think we really discussed like where you guys actually sleep on the ship.
Yeah, we only discussed it via the chat.
No worries. And let's see. We'll say that Esmer found herself a room to crash in. Actually, Esmer fell asleep in a chair. We'll say she fell asleep in a chair on the pool deck. So I would assume that after you guys have done what you want to do for the rest of the evening, you all find your rest.
Yes.
Yes.
Lathana actually will try to lock her door though, because she doesn't want someone putting more arrows under her.
Okay. All of the rooms have a very simple locking mechanism. As standard with any door would have a lock on it.
And I guess she cast Cordon of Arrows. Just
Oh?
because. She sets up 4 pieces of ammunition around the.
Hmm.
And if a creature other than me comes in within 30 feet, wait, hold. That's not good. No, she'll like have it set up in her room. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Like it's in her room, like not outside her door. So
Okay.
it's like aimed at the door. So it doesn't like accidentally shoot a friend in the hallway, you know.
Ah, okay. what exactly does Cordon of Arrows do?
Until the spell ends, whenever a creature other than you comes within 30 feet of the ammunition for the first time, one piece of ammunition flies up to strike it.
Mm-hmm.
The creature must succeed on a dex save.
So, you're casting that now? As you're retiring for the evening?
It lasts for 8 hours, yes.
Lasts for 8 hours. Gotcha. Okay. Alright.
Zito's also casting alarm outside of his door.
Gotcha. And you guys are jumpy.
Oh,
I mean,
we had 2 occurrences of someone breaking into each other's room, so...
Ah. Okay. You guys take your long rest. I will mark you all taking your rest. And y'all have a very uneventful evening as the New Horizon continues to go west towards the Eldeen Reaches, crossing out over the border of Ondare. And you all wake one by one from your full rest, feeling refreshed. And what would you all like to do today on the New Horizon? The crew hustle and bustle, doing their daily tasks. Every so often, a Warforged will stomp down the hallway. You can hear the sound of its construct feet thudding on the lacquered wood.
Zito's gonna go and get some breakfast. Sounds good.
Eli, you didn't get any replies. I'm so very sorry.
That just means I need to send a bunch more today.
Gotcha. Sorry, what did you say?
Hey man,
Zito?
I got 3 level 3 spells and 2 level 4 spells.
Oh, what did you say, Zito? I said, what did you say?
Zito's gonna go get some breakfast.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna follow him up there and do that as well.
All right. You all make your way up to the command deck, to the meeting hall slash common area where you all can have a sit and have your breakfast.
Yep, Lithana would join.
Lithana, as you're wandering the halls before you head up, you eventually find a bit of a disheveled looking, actually looks a bit more tired than she did when you saw her last night. Holding her head, her hair is just a mess, sticking up in one area, and Esmer just sort of looks at you and says, "What?"
Lithana just puts her arm around her and says, Esmer.
Look, I'm nursing pretty horrible hangover right now. All I want is something bitter. Do you think they have coffee?
They probably have coffee.
Wonderful. Please point me in the direction of some coffee. And she just sort of almost bends over and doubles over as she continues to allow you to guide her down the halls.
She will knock on Gunny's room on the way there.
Gunthral just sort of thrusts his door open, and you get a face full of broad, scarred chest. And he looks down at you and says, "Good morning."
Hey, you mind helping Esmer with her hangover?
And he just sort of looks and pulls his holy symbol, you're not sure from where, out, and he presses it to Esmer's forehead. And as he does, you can see he whispers some sort of incantation in some strange runic language. And Esmer just sort of sighs and just like, oh, where were you 3 days ago after that bender? Thanks, Biggin. Hey, cuz.
Hey, thanks, Gunny. And she kind of gives this, like, I don't know, sheepish smile at his somewhat nude form and then goes,
Oh yeah, he's full on naked. He doesn't even care. He's not even wearing his loincloth now.
Speaking of which, how are you feeling, Athona?
As you both wander up towards the common area, you see Zito seated in one of the tables. Auri, I assume you're there as well, getting yourself something to eat?
Yep.
Okay. Ender eventually wanders in, sits down, has a big old bowl of something. You're not sure what, but it's steaming hot, and he is shoveling it in his mouth. And in the middle of the table, there's that large display which shows a topographical map of the area, and you can see that the landscape has changed quite a bit. You appear to be over this forested region, a region that's very familiar to you, Auri.
I'm gonna just kind of be admiring it and looking out.
Looking at this topographical display, you can see that it appears that the airship appears to be currently flying over the Riverwood, which is the first forested region right up against the border between Onder and the Eldeen Reaches, which is next to the Wolfwood, which also borders the Mosswood. And looking at the display as it sort of slowly spins, you can see the familiar sight of the Ares off in the distance, that these tiny little pinpricks of towers, which you would of course know is where the very large dragonhawks come from. The dragonhawks make their homes in these tall towers, these towering eyries on the edges of the forests. And you can see every so often this impressive wingspan of some sort of a sprite that seems to dart out from this replication of the Eldeen Reaches in the forest. And you can see what appears to be a replication of a dragonhawk swooping out, just a teeny tiny little pinprick of one.
Oh, it's so beautiful. I haven't seen it in so long. I mean, I know this isn't actually it, but wow, this thing replicates everything so in such detail. It's almost perfect.
Zito, you would recognize this as an artificer's, what is known in your travels as a light forge. It's a device that uses light to replicate a programmed illusion, and essentially it's very similar to what you've experienced the Castellaner Corporation's tablet displays that they've been peddling for the last year now. Only this one is a bit more advanced. This appears to be a top of the line, not made by Castellanter. Appears to have been made by an artificer.
Eli must have gone all out to buy a light forge of this caliber.
A light forge?
Yeah, so you know those tablet things back in Charm? It's essentially a more impressive version of those.
Yeah, those are called Atlas slates. This is like a 4K version of an Atlas slate.
Nice.
Putting it in layman's terms.
Yes.
It's insane. How can they replicate it so perfectly? Is this where we are now?
Is there a window where we're eating?
There are no windows in this part of the ship. There are no portholes. This chamber is completely void of any sort of windows. Presumably that's why this display is here, so that if the captain is within this war room, so to speak, they're able to know what's going on outside of the ship.
But as an artist, I would know that it would be able to take the image outside the ship and then project it here.
Correct. Essentially, what you would know about this is obviously this is the other half of a device that's mounted on the underside of the ship somewhere, which is giving you a bird's eye view of the landscape below the ship.
Yes, sir. I do believe we are here. So, usually these light forges, there's two parts to these. There's one which is the receiving end and the one that projects the image.
So that means we're really close to my home. The cabin, it's a little bit that way, and then, oh my goodness, this is so cool. But I know we're on a time restraint. I'd really like you all to see it someday, though. It is beautiful.
Maybe we can stop there on our way back.
I would very much love that.
And then almost on cue, the doors open, the double doors, and Eli saunters in his best crushed royal blue outfit. Sans foppish hat. Unless you have another one in your wardrobe, Eli.
Yeah, it's a different color.
Okay. It doesn't quite match your outfit.
Yeah.
Unless you had another outfit that matched it. We'll
No,
just
I
say
don't.
that-
I only wear the same color, so it's kind of an off hat. It kind of looks
Okay. So we'll take that, Lithana. It's purple. So royal blue crushed velvet suit with a wide-brimmed purple hat with a shock white feather that is about 2.5 feet long that sticks out on one side.
Eli sees that and looking at him, he's like, "What? There was only one in stock, so I had to buy another one. I know it's a little off color. It doesn't look that bad, right?"
I think it looks amazing.
Oh, why, thank you.
Zito's gonna fill his mouth with a bagel, and he's just gonna talk with his mouth full.
Please demonstrate.
Please do. I want a description.
If only I had food around me.
Aw.
Eli will sit down and look at the view screen to know where they are.
Okay. You're currently right over the Riverwood. Which is
the Riverwood.
yes, you've just left the the border of the Eldeen Reaches border, which is essentially on either side of the Wynarn River that stretches from Eldeen Bay to Lake Galifar. The border between the nations is right there on either side of the river.
And we'll look at them. You guys ever been to the Riverwood?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's pretty close to my cabin where I'm from.
Where are you from?
I don't know, the woods over there somewhere.
Or just sort of gestures to the view screen. You just see patches of thick forested areas. The Eldeen Reaches itself is mostly farmland and forest. Like, it's a combination of farmland and forest, which is bordered to the northeast, to the south by a lake and the ocean.
Where did you say, Ari? Point again.
Over that way. It's gotta be. Well, hold on. Yeah, that rock seems kinda. I think it took me about a day to get. But that was on foot, of course. So yeah, it's in that direction, there.
Eli will close his eyes, and the ship will start to turn.
Okay. The image begins to shift now, Auri, as you're seeing... which way are you turning? Are you turning towards the north? Towards the
Turning
south?
towards where Ari pointed to.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me share a map with you guys. And Auri, you can tell everyone, or draw on the map, where you think the cabin is.
Where exactly are we?
If you look on the map, I will move your cursor. If you look on the map, you'll see a little green indicator that says you are here. Actually, you'd be...
So we're the D right now.
Be closer to there.
I'm back.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, it's gonna be kind of in an isolated spot, so I think it'd probably be a little bit north, like above where River Weep is, between that and Owl's Perch somewhere.
Okay. So, close to the Wynarn River?
Yeah.
Okay. So, within the Riverwood, close to the river. So, like, would you say between the Riverwood and the Chanthwood?
Yes.
Okay, so it's almost a complete about face, Eli, as you turn the ship around momentarily. Sort of northeast from where the ship is currently. That's where she's gesturing.
We'll take a slight detour, and he gives her a wink.
Are you serious?
Why, yes.
Oh, I haven't been there, and I hope it's still in good condition. I can't imagine it wouldn't be, though. It's not like it needed much maintenance. I always let the rabbits and the rats and stuff run wild in the house because, I mean, why not, right? They were kind of my only friends for a while.
So you're fairly certain, Eli, that it'll take you about half a day to get there.
No worries. The
Well,
wind...
Maybe
We're
like
avoiding a storm, wink wink.
Eli, this is a smart idea to go back. I mean, we are on a time constraint.
Oh, no worries. I'm avoiding a storm. Don't want to fly into those.
And you can now see more of these almost migrations of various birds over the forest as the New Horizon has turned around, pointing towards the northeast. And Ender, you can see now, you've been sort of shoveling food from your bowl that you obtained from Cookie downstairs from Hassel. And you've been observing this strange light display which has replicated a bird's eye view of everything beneath the airship, the horizon. And Auri has been gesticulating and excitedly pointing out, this is where my cabin was, this is where I used to live, this is my home.
Very cool. What else did I miss? Anything involving monsters?
Everybody had a lovely evening.
You mean you didn't attack us while I was away?
No? You guys had a lovely evening.
Zeta made
Doesn't
up
sound
on a
like you,
machine
Jared.
gun.
So is that what you wish to do today, is to head over in that direction?
Yes. And
Okay.
prepare a skiff.
Okay. So did any of you want to do anything else on the ship while the New Horizon is heading in that direction?
I guess Zeta's gonna go back down to his workshop.
Okay.
will just be by any group and listen without really talking to any conversation, just trying to drone out all the thoughts.
Okay.
Ari is going to be going to take a bath and to clean herself, and she's going to be trying to she's gonna be fussing with her hair and stuff and just trying to find the best outfit, even though it's only a house she's going back to. It's as if she's dressing to impress somebody.
Okay. Captain Eli, at some point in time, a few of your passengers have noticed that the ship has changed course, and the writer, Volo, he approaches you wherever you are on the ship at the time, and he says, "Oh, good captain, I noticed that we appear to be going the opposite direction. Was there a problem?"
Yes, we got word there's a big storm, so we're going around the storm. You know, airships and storms don't really go well, especially after the last one.
Well, strange. A storm. Well, that's horrible. What happened to know how long of this will take, would you? I kind of have a schedule to keep, if you know.
It don't take that long, just an extra afternoon.
Oh, well, very well.
Like I said, your safety is most important to me.
Indeed, sir. Well, I will let you get back to your business then. And many hours later, the New Horizon finds itself perched between Riverweep, Owl's Perch, and the Chanthwood, right on the edge of the Riverwood and the Wynarn River.
Well, Ari, I think we're close.
Do I look alright?
Yes. You have about 2 hours before we need to get going. There's only so much lies I can, tell. Kind of winks at her.
Thank you, Eli.
So
You're welcome.
Are all of you going, or some of you going, or?
I'd like to go too.
Okay. So Auri definitely is going. Ender's going.
Nithana will join as well.
Lithana's going. Esmer will follow with you.
If you're here, I might as well go.
Zito's going.
Yeah, I'm going.
Okay.
I'll go. I'll tell my first mate we're waiting for the storm to pass. We'll be on our way as soon as possible. And we'll make once we get back, we'll make our way on haste.
Elrose sends back a message. What storm?
I said, I'll go up to the bridge and explain to him there's a storm, very violent storm. Wink, wink, because no one's around. Wink, wink. You told me about it, remember?
It's your ship, Captain. If you want to take a detour, that's no problem.
Yes, but we got an image to keep up.
I understand, but I hate to tell you, but I think your cover has been blown. The Warforged crew have been chatting about this excursion all afternoon. And as you make your way down to the storage and skiff level of the ship, the Warforged crew have been pulling down one of the skiffs for you guys to descend from the New Horizon. And standing on the deck of this particular part of this level of the ship, you see a very excited looking Volo who appears to be dressed for travel with his attendant. And he says, "Captain, you didn't tell me that we were going on an adventure together." And he just sort of winks at you. Big smile.
Yes, come along. We gotta avoid the storm. And he winks at him again.
"I see, sir." And he winks at you again. Big wink. Big wide smile. So the skiffs can hold 8 people. So, and you have enough skiffs, you could go down taking both skiffs at the same time, if you wish.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. So you all assemble on the storage and skiff level of the ship, and one by one get into the skiffs as the Warforged crew pull them down from the rigging that holds them up on that section of the ship. And the sides of the doors, the bay doors, slide up and out of the way, revealing the beautiful, pristine blue skies with just a few wisps of cloud. Not a storm cloud in sight. And Volo just sort of looks out in the distance. Storm on the horizon, Captain.
Better take a 2-hour detour.
Better eyes than I'll say. Ha ha!
Yep,
So-
all aboard.
If you are all assembled within the storage and skiff level of the ship, you can all embark and then disembark from the New Horizon.
Yeah, the New Horizon will go as low as it can.
Okay.
So, and we'll take the skips off.
All
'Cause
right.
I know it can't land.
No, unfortunately not. So I would say just above the canopy, like maybe 100 feet up from the canopy of the forest.
Yeah.
The skiffs are able to disembark. It's a bit exhilarating for all of you because I would say that maybe not all of you have ever ridden a skiff before. It's sort of like the acceleration is a bit like being on a log flume ride as it tilts downward and lists and then zips off towards the tree canopy. And eventually the skiffs find their way down into an opening within the forest, the canopy cover, and you're all in this beautiful vale.
Well, it doesn't smell like shit. Since Zito's never been outside of a city before.
Where's your cabin, Ari?
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. Keep going in that direction.
Keep your hands in the boats, please.
These skiffs now are flying just below the tops of the tree canopies between the widest areas between trees. You're all zipping along in these skiff craft. And eventually, Auri, you begin to, your memory begins to come back, and you can start to feel a bit of familiarity of your surroundings. And you're fairly certain that the cabin is close.
There. That direction. We're almost there. Oh, look. Hey, I fell out of that tree once. I was pretty young, but I remember. Oh, and those logs over there? Wow, I can't believe they're still there.
And as you get closer to the clearing where the cabin is located, Auri, you can see now that beyond the rolling hills in this clearing within the forest, you can see that the house itself was composed of what was once a massive tree. The house was built into the base of the tree, the trunk itself. And you can see that over time, its pristine memory that you had of it, it seems to have begun to be retaken by the forest, if you will. There's overgrowth in areas. The very well cared for garden, which stretched out before it, the front of the house facade, is now overgrown. And you can see a very familiar marker on a hill not too far away from the cabin, just underneath a younger tree. And it's been a while since you've visited this marker.
Could you guys give me just a moment?
Sure. You can step out. We can walk the other way.
Sure. Oh, you can go and explore the house. I just, I need to go see something real fast.
Captain, you don't mind if I accompany the young lady? Volo gestures towards Auri.
Ari?
Okay.
And the skiffs now settle down in this clearing, and you're all able to disembark from them and just sort of explore the area. It's a bit warm. You can hear the sounds of insects and birds in the distance as they sort of trill. And Auri, as you get closer to this edge of the clearing, that just sort of, there's a bit of a, where the tree, this tree grows up, it's and not quite an older, but a bit of a younger oak tree. And you can see, as you get closer to it, the area around it, where the marker exists in front of the tree, is absolutely clear. There's no overgrowth. The marker itself doesn't have a bit of overgrowth on it at all. It looks like it's been well maintained.
How is this still so perfect? I haven't been here so long. I'm just gonna kneel down in front of it and bow my head down.
Okay. And Volo respectfully stays silent. He just sort of has pulled out a bit of parchment and a quill, and he's been writing the entire time as he's disembarked from the skiff, and his assistant has been following him lockstep, like a few feet away from him the entire time. And as you're all just sort of assembled underneath this large oak tree, under the shade of the tree. And what are the rest of? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Is the Harlequin?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's all I need.
The a bit ostentatious looking individual wearing the breastplate and colorful outfit with the masks.
Okay. Well, I'm going to, after a few moments, I'm going to take the necklace, the flower necklace off of myself and place it down on the stone and look up at the Harlequin.
Okay.
I hope that it doesn't offend you, but she deserves this more than I do. And then I'll back away slowly.
The mute Harlequin regards you. Volo has sort of wandered off a few steps away from the two of you, and the Harlequin just sort of glided up, respectfully not crowding you or getting too close to this headstone. The headstone itself it's made of stone, but it looks like it's been carved into that of an old tree with no branches, no leaves. It just looks like the trunk of a tree spiraling upwards and then out with its branches into almost like a crown. And as you say that, the Harlequin just regards you, silent, turns and looks towards where you've laid this wreath, turns and looks back at you, and then very slowly nods in acknowledgement and is silent.
She was very special to me. I don't know where you got these, but they remind me of her. So thank you.
And the Harlequin continues to stare at you. Its mask, a complete still. It's wearing the mask. It's no longer wearing the happy mask. This mask is the sad mask.
Right. I tend to forget that you don't talk much. Let's go rejoin the others, why don't we?
Okay. You're heading away from it?
Yeah.
Volo, seeing that you're moving away from the tree, away from the headstone, goes with you. And as you're walking away, the Harlequin pauses for a moment. Doesn't leave with you. Doesn't say anything. Just turns its head towards the stone, towards the tree, and then looks in your direction, and then continues to follow after Volo. And what are the rest of the group doing?
Eli. Oh, sorry.
Zito's gonna take a walk around the cabin, or the tree that the cabin's built in, to get a better view of the place.
Okay. The cabin is fairly modest looking. It almost seems as if it was formed out of the tree itself. There's, from what you can tell, the areas where there are windows they're all rounded, very simple looking, but there's no wood craftsmanship here. This is not something that's been carved. This almost seems like it was formed. The door itself has sort of like it's a bit rounded shape to it. It almost seems like the outline of something. It's not quite an oval, it's not quite a circle.
I think Zito would open the door.
Okay. As you approach the door, Zito, the door itself, it seems to be made of individual tree roots that were flattened. It seemed like a solid, flat surface. And as you get closer to it, the tree roots begin to unfurl and untangle from themselves, and then pull outwards, and then reach back inwards into the abode itself, revealing this very simple home within that looks like it has not seen anyone living in it in quite some time. As you enter into the building, you can see a few squirrels that just sort of scamper off and run over your feet, and then out the door, off into the veil beyond. And what are the rest of you doing right now? What are you doing, Lathana?
Lathana will look at the house, but then she would also like to just find a tree and sit under it and close her eyes and be in her elements in the...
Okay. From where you're at right now, it would be a bit of a walk to get to a tree. The only other tree in the area seems to be the one that's just off from the house where Auri was, where that marker was.
Alright, she'll look at the house then and just take in the ambience of the forest.
Okay. Esmer this entire time has been just sort of grim-faced. Almost like she wants to say something to you, but she's not. Gonthral is just sort of yawning. Oh, what are we doing? Are we having a picnic? What's going on here?
Ari's remembering enjoying herself.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
Fair enough.
This is her home, or was.
Really?
Yes.
Kind of a
Does
weird
Eli
house.
keep looking? Yeah, some people live in the wild. I prefer nice, comfy beds.
Well, you know, I lived on an airship for a long time. And before that, I was a slave. So, the idea of owning a house a bit foreign to me.
Well, you could own a house now with all the money you're gonna make from the New Horizon.
And Gunther just sort of looks at you and nods in agreement. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of Eli, when will we be getting our paychecks for that?
I've already calculated it out. Once we hit the marshes, you'll be getting a cut.
Marches, yes. Okay.
What are you all doing standing outside still? Go on, you can go inside.
I thought you would want to be the first one to go inside, Ari.
I'm just gonna step forward. You can gesture me in.
By all means, you're all welcome.
Cool, does that mean we get to rummage through all your stuff?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of books. I don't think books are really your thing, though, are they, Ender?
I like pictures.
Yeah, a lot of them have pictures. Come on.
What does the inside of your house look like? Is it big?
If you're heading inside, I will describe it to you.
Yep.
The interior of the house, it looks to you, there's a big vaulted ceiling. It's very different from your typical lumber house. It's very organic looking. There's not a stitch of a nail anywhere. In fact, you don't really see metal of any sort within this place. There's furniture, but the furniture itself seems to have been formed from wood. There's a large rocking chair that seems to be a mix between like an old wicker chair and just an amalgamation of what could be an old tree. And like the back of it has sort of like a wicker texture to it, but it looks like the branches of a tree that's been formed together in sort of a large upside down teardrop shape that plunges down into this rocking chair. And as you approach it, Auri, you can see sitting in the chair a familiar book.
Does it look like this place has anyone's like been here since she left? Is there any like life?
Well, just a general looking around the room, you can see that there are areas, the windows don't look like they've been cleaned in a while. They're a bit foggy, just from like over time condensation from dew forming on the windows, and the glass itself seems to be made of actual glass, like it was set into this opening, this oval opening in the side of the house. And you can see now Auri sort of glides past you, drawn to the wicker rocking chair. And there, nestled in an old familiar blanket, you see a thick tome sitting in the chair. Auri.
I'm gonna grab the blanket and put it around myself and open up the book and just start looking through it. Oh, it's been so long. Everything looks exactly how I remember it. I mean, maybe a little overgrown, but I kind of like that.
You look around, you can see the only foreign bit of material within the house you see is the old stove that your aunt used to. Excuse me, did I just out you? Your adopted mother figure had this stove, an old stove, wood stove in the back, with a chimney that stuck out from the northeastern end of the house. And you take a glance around, you can still see the little nook and one corner where you used to lie and watch Vivian rock in her chair and draw. And the book that she bequeathed to you, which you left behind when you left this place. And as you begin thumbing through it, you can see one of the last drawings within this book was that of you, a portrait of you.
Hey, look at this. She was quite the artist. I'm going to show it to whichever one of them is closest to me.
Well, that's
Wow.
a picture.
And answer to your question, Eli, it's been about an hour since you left the ship.
Okay, he keeps looking down at the stopwatch.
Okay.
You hear a big explosion in the sky.
No.
Who owns this place? How long ago did you live here?
Oh, well, Vivian owned it. I am not very good with time. I left a couple years back. Has it been years? I guess it has. And then I just headed south. I was alone here for quite some time after my guardian passed. And it came to the point where I just couldn't be alone anymore. I love it here, though. Don't get me wrong. If I didn't get so lonely, I never would have left. But now I have you guys, so this is my old life. You guys are my new life.
We met quite far away from here when we began journeying together. We made it quite a ways.
Oh, yeah. I walked for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. I think, like I said, I'm not very great with time.
Were you scared?
Scared? No, I was on an adventure. Of course I wasn't scared.
Well, it sounds like quite a journey. What's it like to come back?
It feels good. And it feels good to have you all here with me.
Through the window, just beyond your companions, Auri, you can see now the cold, still visage of the masked form of the Harlequin through the window, just perched there. Not looking in. Almost looks like they're leaning against the side of the house. And Volo just sort of pokes his head in and says, "Hello there. Hello. Might be we making our way back to the ship soon? Or perhaps having a little luncheon somewhere here around these parts? Perhaps there's a city we could go to, or a tavern?"
Oh, no. Not near here. Sorry.
"Oh, that's all right. No worries. I'm just curious. I know Captain Eli said we were trying to avoid a storm."
Right. The garden used to be full of stuff, but from what I saw, it looked kind of overgrown at this point. I don't know how much there would be we could salvage there for a significant picnic.
As you say that, Auri, you're hearing a strange sound from outside. Sort of like a whoosh, whoosh, whoosh sound. Sort of like strange, like a whooshing noise.
Well, that's our cue to go.
Oh, I've never heard that before. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Actually, it sounds familiar.
Oh. Okay.
It sounds an awful lot like Vivian's, one of Vivian's tools she used to work on the garden outside.
Oh. Okay, so instead, I'm gonna run out there with a smile on my face, still with the blanket around me and with the book in my arm.
Okay. As you exit the house, you see an individual with Vivian's old scythe and is currently whacking down all of the overgrown vegetation on the outskirts of the Guardian. Like, just working at it.
Do I recognize them?
Yes, it's the Harlequin.
Oh.
The Harlequin apparently got bored and is now trimming the garden.
You're quite good at that.
You just hear whoosh, the sound of the edge of the blade as it cuts through and very precisely cuts down the overgrowth there. And turns around and feigns exhaustion. Just this ridiculous. Puts a hand up to the masked head, tilts their head back, and then looks at you. And then drops the arm to the side. And then offers the scythe over to you. And it's this long, two-handled scythe with a blade that's about almost a meter long. It curves outward. And it's a simple farm implement that Vivian would use to cut down the tall grass around the abode.
I'll giggle and take it from her, and then do the same thing that she was doing.
And the Harlequin steps back a few feet to get out of your way, just in case you swing wide with that thing. And just sort of gestures in the same area, right in the edge of the garden where you were, the Harlequin was cleaving the overgrowth. There's a lot of pepper bushes and some thorny bushes. What looks like the remainder of some sort of a flower, a flower bush that maybe at one time was set up on one side of the house, and over time has just kind of grown out and exploded all over the edge of the garden from the soil. And it's just it doesn't seem to be like your typical row by row garden anymore. There's just vegetation everywhere. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Eli will walk up to her and tap R in the shoulder.
Oh, sorry. What?
I apologize. Unfortunately, it's time to go. Maybe on our way back from the marshes, we can stop for a long time. But
Yeah, I understand.
any more delay will, not happy passengers.
Well, thank you for making this stop for me, Eli. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could. Like I said, I'm sorry it could have been longer.
There's a bit of movement to the side, Eli, as you turn and look, and the Harlequin now is striding up towards you and Auri, and has their hand like cupped, as if to present something to Auri.
Oh, you have something for me? And I'll lay out my hand.
And you receive a beautiful bouquet of starflowers. And
Did you get these here?
the individual just sort of turns and regards just beyond the bit of trashwood and overgrowth, and gestures off in the distance, a little bit away from the garden.
Eli, who is she?
I have no idea.
And the individual now strides off back towards the way that they came. And you can see now there are, besides the trash wood, if you will, this area is pristine as well. Not unlike the marker up on the hill. You see rows and rows of perfectly pruned starflower bushes. Perfectly placed. And symmetrical spiraling patterns. And it looks recently tilled. Like, this earth looks recent. Like, some of these bushes look like they've been here a bit longer than others, but some of them look really new. Like, potentially they've recently been planted. And you can see a bit of a rise in the mound of the earth down at the base of the plant itself. And this whole area is just like, before you had the strange smells, the interior of Vivian's house, and the smell of the trash wood, and the various types of flowers. But in this particular area, it's just starflower. Smell of starflower everywhere.
Did you do this? Is this where you got the flowers?
And Volo just sort of wanders up and says, "Afraid M won't answer you, my dear. M doesn't speak. But I can tell you that starflower are fairly common in this area. I've spent some time in the Eldeen Reaches myself, although it seems that perhaps this homestead is not quite as abandoned as you thought."
Well, this M you called her? Or him?
Yes.
They've been with you for how long?
Oh, it's been a few months now. We've traveled all over the nations. I met him here in the Eldeen Reaches many, many months ago. Several months, in fact.
Is it possible that M was the one planting these?
Well, I can't...
They gave me some.
Really? Well, as I said,
Yeah.
they used the various rituals of different druids. From what I've heard, use them in rituals. I believe they, if I'm not mistaken, it's a plant that came from the southeast, possibly. One of the continents to the southeast. Possibly from Aranel. I'm not sure 100% I could tell you. But as far as it, very common in the Eldeen Reaches, to my knowledge at very least. Although I have to say I've never seen a concentration of it so much in one place. Usually folk just keep it on a little hedge box on the edge of their house.
I lived here for years. It was just me and Vivian. There was nobody else here. I don't understand who could be doing this.
Perhaps someone has moved in since you've been gone? Maybe? Perhaps? I can't say for certain. I've never been to this part of the Eldeen Reaches myself. I stick to the major settlements. I prefer Greenheart and Cree or Varna.
But the house looks abandoned and there's none other around. I've been here for years. I know it like the back of my hand. There was no other houses.
I'm sorry to say I don't have an answer for you, my dear.
Is M a person?
As far as I know.
And they've never spoken to you? Not once?
No. But M presented to me an official document from the gatekeepers from Greenheart, many, many months ago, offering their services as a bodyguard as I traveled through the nation. Didn't ask for much. In fact,
You've never seen their face?
oh no, M is a very private person. And I'm not one to pry.
Right. Sorry for all the questions. I'm
Oh,
just really confused right now.
It's quite all right. You must understand. My trade is writing. So for me, this is a simple thing. Communication. Talking, learning about other folk that allows me to be a better writer. I know that my appearance might be a bit ostentatious at times, and perhaps I have been referred to as a bit of a braggart or as such, but more than anything, I wish to just understand people, if you understand my meaning.
Yeah, I think that I do. I have a lot of that feeling right now, especially about M.
Well, I can't speak to whether or not M will open up ever to anyone. I don't really know M more than the transaction that we have and the agreement that we have come to. I don't presently have any sort of hold on M. If you wish to employ their services once I arrive in Greenheart, perhaps you can arrange something yourself. I understand that your ship, especially after a few days ago, might benefit from a bit more protection. I mean, you are all formidable individuals, of course. I agree that without question, you all seem to be able to hold your own and much more. But perhaps you can take him off my hands once we arrive in Greenheart. If M is agreeable, and M at this point is sort of wandered away several yards, seems to be just sort of walking the outer edges of the Starflower field. And I will say it's 16 after now, so we can find ourselves a nice place to stop here soon. I know a lot of you can't stay up too much longer. I will leave it all up to you all.
Well, it's time to go back. Unfortunately, must head to the ship.
Eli's insistence, Volo looks past you, Ari, and says, "Quite right, Captain. Of course. Miss Auri, was it?
Yeah.
Shall
to the
we?
skips.
Shall we away? Our captain seems to be quite insistent.
Yeah, that's my fault. We should probably get going.
Okay. Is that?
As they get... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Lufana.
As they get onto the skips, Lethana will kind of start to whisper in Ari's ear. Hey, maybe I can get this gal to talk when we're on the ship somehow. Maybe I can help you.
I'm sorry, I barely heard part of what you said. What?
Oh. She whispers and says, maybe I can get to talk when we're on the ship somehow. Maybe get some of your questions answered if you want my help.
Yeah, absolutely. I have quite a few questions.
Alright.
Lithana, do you think that Emma's a person?
don't know. It's very hard to tell. I don't think she is a construct, at least from what I can see.
Warforged are people.
I guess we'll find out.
Man, if only we had a Warforged in the group that could argue this point right now. But we don't!
Aw.
Ah! I want to have the argument of sentience so badly. What makes someone a human? Is it a soul? Is it a line of code? Come on, I want to have this conversation right now.
Well, I'll tell you what. When somebody's character dies, somebody can play a Warforged. How about that?
It will be me. I'm the one that gets to die. And I'll come back as a sentient Warforged that demands to have. Okay. Anyways,
No worries. So you guys are all
Sorry,
heading
I'm
back
okay.
to the ship?
I'm
Yes.
ready. I'm not here for anything except to hear. I almost said Ani. Ari's story.
Okay. So
Let's go back with haste.
you
I'm
all,
starting to say Audrey now too, Ani.
as you all
I'm starting
begin heading back towards the skiffs, you all see now that they've been decorated with starflowers. Little wreaths of starflower on the front of each one. Not quite as symmetrical, a bit asymmetrical. You see these wreaths of starflower that have been rusted on the bows of each of the skiffs.
It looks beautiful.
And as you're walking up, you can see that M is very busily, was finishing one of the wreaths as you all got towards the skiffs, and turns around at almost a startled demeanor, looking in the direction of all of you, and stops assembling the wreath.
This looks beautiful, thank you.
And the Harlequin just silently nods in your direction and takes the wreath, and it's a bit smaller than the others, and twists it a few times in a few places, and then holds it out, and it almost seems like a crown of starflower, and gestures towards you.
Alright, I'll walk towards her.
And she presents it to you.
I will take it.
And after you've all assembled on the skiffs, I assume, Eli, you give the word to the crew to away from this area back towards the New Horizon?
Yes.
Okay. Doesn't take too much time, but you're able to, within a reasonable amount of time, get back to the New Horizon within that time frame which you had set forth. Disembarking, heading towards that section of the Riverwood, and then heading back to the ship. And you're able to make it back to where you were before in a decent amount of time. It's getting pretty late now. The sun is beginning to set. Dinner's getting ready to be served as you all get onto the New Horizon, and each of you begin to scatter and go about your tasks onto the ship, finishing out the day. Another day uneventful on the New Horizon, and somewhat eventful in the Glade, where Auri introduced you all to her old homestead. And other than assembling for another nice dinner in the war room, so to speak, or the lounge, if you will, you all are left to your own devices. Another day passes, or another day has passed. The sun is now setting. The New Horizon is back on its course now, heading towards the southwest, towards Delathorn, to lit off your first set of passengers. And what would each of you like to do? We're trying to get to a point where we can end for tonight, unless you guys want to keep going a little longer.
I'm going to be decorating my personal room with the star flowers that I was given because I have a bouquet, I know, so I'll use those to decorate the room.
Okay. So you do that up until the time that you go to bed for the evening?
Yeah.
Okay. Gunthral is raiding the kitchen currently, and you just hear him out in the hallway, just hear him go, ow! As the sound of something solid whacking him in the back of his knee as he's chased out of the kitchen. He's got an entire chicken underneath his arm, and he's rushing towards his room with it. And what do you do, Ender? Hello, Ender.
Uh-oh. I have full focus on this. What?
I said,
what happened?
I said, what? You've all had dinner. Gunthral had second dinner. Auri's in her room decorating. What do you do for the rest of the evening leading up to going to bed and retiring for the evening?
I guess I head in my room and I meditate. I suppose that's what Ender would be doing.
Okay. And what about you, Eli? Do you head back to your?
Yes. Question: is there sails on on this type of airships at all?
Well, you have the ether fins, which are the directional fins that allow you to turn the ship. Like the elemental ring is the propulsion system, and then the fins, which almost resemble like the dorsal fins of like a mammalian, like a dolphin or an orca, on the sides of the ship.
Okay, so okay, then my idea wouldn't work. I was gonna try to cast Gust of Wind to make the ship go faster.
Yeah, that'd be like a gentle fart. That wouldn't necessarily give you the.
No, it's Gust of Wind's a second level spell.
Oh, okay.
A strong wind, 60 feet long, 10 feet wide, blasts from the direction you choose. But if there's no sails, there's nowhere to blast.
Yeah, it doesn't really use.
So,
It doesn't use the wind. Not really a wind-powered vehicle.
Yeah, that's what I
I
figured.
don't know.
So.
Honestly, Eli, we could probably have some fun with that out on that. On that.
I was trying to make up a little bit of lost time.
No worries.
But in that case, Eli will be residing on his comfortable bed with the guards outside his door, and sending his 6 messages to the princess.
Okay, you receive 1 response.
Oh, what is her response now?
The response is, "Why do you keep messaging my woman?"
No, it's the princess.
Exactly. She's with someone.
Oh! Only she can hear it.
I know. She told the person that you messaged her. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Eli.
I'll send him some. Do I know what he looks like?
You don't.
Since he sent me a message, then if he can cast it, I'll send him back. She cheated on you.
Aw. Eli, breaking hearts and breaking up people.
Why he's sipping a daiquiri with his collar popped up.
And he ends it with aristocrat. You're an aristocrat.
Aww.
Eli's disappointed.
Aw. So is that what you do? That's what you do for the rest of the evening before you go to bed?
Yeah.
Okay.
He mopes and drink.
Aw.
Takes a very long shower in his nice bathtub. By himself.
Do you cry a little?
Yeah, a little bit. With the guards outside his door. And thinks of a new password for his elevator.
Okay. You hear a knock on the window outside of your room. Roll for initiative.
Good thing the guards are outside my door. And he will retire for the evening, saddened.
Aww.
But not hasn't given up yet.
That makes me feel so sad. What about you, Zito?
Zito's gonna go back into his workshop.
Okay.
He's gonna continue working on his designs. And whenever he comes across an error, he just burns the paper and starts fresh.
Okay. And then you eventually retire, I assume, to your room after going into the wee hours of the night.
Yeah.
I think I asked everyone. Esmer found herself a room, and I think she kicked the orc out of his room and took his room over. He's not very happy about that.
No.
Whoa.
He's not talking about Ender.
Oh, good. I heard that, Jeremy.
Hold on. Guards, take care of the situation. Give him a new room.
You hear... Hello. This is my room. Excuse me. And you all hear the sound of someone from within a room. Fuck off! Excuse me. Hello? Eventually the person gives up. Just hear the clump of his feet and the sound of his feet as he wanders off to find a place to sleep.
Poor guy.
And then Lithana, I think you're the last one. I don't think I've asked you yet.
Yeah.
What did you do with the rest of your evening?
Well, she will still put up the cordon of arrows.
Okay.
She's not paranoid. But she will sit on her bed and stare at the ceiling and look at the urn and then go back and stare at the ceiling for a couple hours, and then she would finally pick up her phone
Okay.
and try to call Zara.
Okay. Do you have a sending stone with her on the other end?
I don't think so. Do I?
No, I don't think you do.
Broadcaster.
Aw.
You do have the ring, don't you?
I don't think they have the rings though.
Yeah, I think they gave those wings away, remember?
I don't remember if Zara did.
I think they retired. I could be wrong. That's up to you, Lithana. Because would Lithana even know that Zara would have one of those rings?
I like to think she's like calling on every device she has and trying to find something.
Okay.
Castard or Zara.
Unfortunately, you don't get a response. You do this for several hours into the wee late evening, and as your eyes begin to get a bit heavy, you begin to drift off to sleep. And I'll mark you guys as taking another long rest here in a moment. In the wee hours of the late evening, early morning, Lithana, you open your eyes after yet another bad dream. Staring up at the familiar lacquered wood ceiling of your bedchamber. Your head throbs, the room feels stuffy, and there's a tang in the air. This almost a very foreign taste. Like you can taste something in the air. A bit like brimstone. The sulfurous smell. It's familiar. Very familiar. And as you lay in your bed, you suddenly become aware of a foreign object laying on your chest. And as you reach for the item in the dark, you realize that it is a wreath of flowers.
Has her cordon of arrows gone up?
As your eyes adjust with your dark vision, you see that your cordon of arrows are gone. And a human woman wearing a white dress stained with blood in various places is sitting at the edge of your bed. She stares down at you while clutching another wreath of flowers in her hands.
Who are you? Why are you?
Make a wisdom save, Lithana. Would you like to use your inspiration?
Oh.
One more, yes.
So, Lithana, you are suddenly racked with not pain, but it feels like a vice around your entire form. And a soft, feminine, breathy, yet unfamiliar voice fills your chamber. Lithana Aisha, hunter of the Arcus Sisterhood, be all your sins remembered. I have come for you. And that's where we're going to end for tonight.
Gosh. Cool.
That's so lame that no one stays open past like 10 o'clock. What is this? Some kind of pandemic?
I know, right?
Yeah. We're both starving. I know it's poor planning by me. I didn't really think about this. I wish I did.
Well, if you want to be the one to run, then Anna can hang out and finish the session.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah. As long as you're comfortable with that,
I'm cool.
okay with that.
I'm comfortable with that.
Cool.
You can always listen to the podcast later to see what happened.
Yeah. You guys can tell me all about it, though, when I get back.
Yeah.
That's a good solution. Awesome. That means that, like, around 9 o'clock, I'm going to order that pizza.
Okay.
I'll deliver food to your house.
You won't.
Like some kind of creep. I totally would.
Really? All right, well
Absolutely.
then. I demand pizza. You pay for it too, right? That's part of the deal because we're friends. No, just kidding.
I mean, if you don't have any food in your house, I'll buy you food. Oh
Well,
my god.
I do have food. I just have to take it out of the freezer and
has to be
prepare
prepared.
it. And I don't want to prepare everything at like fucking 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, you want to just come over and cook for me?
I
Jennifer?
got
Yeah, could you do that?
Can you bring me a cheeseburger?
Absolutely not.
That's love.
Although I will say, you have Sabrina to cook for you, and she's obviously an amazing cook. So I don't know if you want any of my food.
Yeah, she's pretty good. I actually can cook too, but Jeremy's good.
Because I have a
Jeremy
little
is
bit of
good cook.
because I have that little bit of wiggle room, I'm just gonna go ahead and order a pizza now and get up and go whenever I can. Hopefully
go.
no one here is deep down really hating me for this. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm offended, Adam, that you would think that D&D is more important than eating.
I know, right?
You mean the other way around?
Yeah, I mean, eating is more important than D&D.
Yeah.
I expect you to starve every session.
Oh,
I mean,
jeez.
technically, I don't have to order a pizza. I could eat I do have rice and beans up there,
When he starves, he does his best work.
Yeah.
and I have hot dogs. Like I have some really shitty food, but I just want to order a pizza.
I totally will deliver it.
So, guys,
No weirdness
have you ever
around
had?
it.
Oh, what's this place?
We're waiting on pins and needles.
Oh my.
Yeah, I know. He does that a lot. He'll stop
Very
it.
excited.
He's gonna change what he was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it was like,
What?
I had the best, and then,
I'm sorry. I'm reading the menu. You guys are really bringing me down here.
You started the sentence by saying, "Hey, have you guys ever?" and then nothing.
I was expecting like
I forgot what I was saying.
I like how I'm the only person that didn't skip a beat at that because I'm used to it.